Hello there, my name is Jai, and this is News Review. Thank you very much for being there. Coming up for you on the show today, women group gathers victims of former President Yahya Jammeh at the Kariba Beach Hotel to remind Gambians, but the whole world really, of the human rights violations and abuses of the former dictator, especially the issue of witch hunt. We have a report on that, but also endometriosis is a disease that affects women. But how many people know about this disease? Mati Sangor will tell us more about that a little later. But my guest today will be Lower Badibu National Assembly member, Honorable Alhaji Jawara. We'll talk about the UDP cannabis saga there, but also other issues such as the election. These and more coming up, but first we'll look at what the newspapers are reporting on today. The Standard, their lead story today is saying Davos says linking UDP with drugs, politically motivated. Well, Honorable Jawara is here, and we will discuss this issue a little later. But according to the Standard story there, the United Democratic Party leader yesterday told journalists that attempts to link his party with drugs are not only disingenuous, but cheap, politically motivated agenda. UDP held a press conference over this issue yesterday at the party's leader's office there. Restoring tax on rice will only worsen matters. This is according to the Trade Minister there. Trade Minister Sidi Keita has stated that government has no plans to reimpose tax or import tax on rice products amid calls that the measure has not made any difference in controlling the price of basic commodities. GPU condemns harassment of Foroya court reporter. The Gambia Press Union is appalled with the news of physical harassment and verbal assault meted out to one of its members, Yankuba Jalo, a reporter with Foroya newspaper there. Government is also clarifying the $200,000 honorarium paid to local officials there in the wake of raging controversy over some $200,000 paid to past and present senior officials at the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice. The Gambia government wishes to inform the public and the international community that contrary to widespread allegations of corruption, the funds were legally paid to these officials as honorarium for jointly prosecuting the case against Myanmar. Busula Alcalo urges Barrow to meet African descendants. Alhaji Omar A.B. Fai, the Alcalo of Busura village, has appealed to President Adama Barrow to meet the Council of African Descendants. Well, African descendants that are living in the country want, citizenship, things like that. They're advocating for their rights and want citizenship. So of late they've been really pushing for some of their rights there. I think yes, that is it for the Standard. Let's see the point. No, it's for today. Rather, NIA case, Justice Kumbasila Kamara describes conduct of Yankuba Baji and his co-defendants as disruptive. Lawyer Davo says UDP cannot be accused of negligence amid report police found cannabis in one of their vehicles. Police delegation meets Gambana leadership. Operation Zero Crime Unit arrest 8 suspects. 408 people arrested since establishment of Operation Zero Crime there. So this point, the Foroya lead story saying Justice Kumbasila Kamara has on Monday, 19th April 2021, described the conduct of 6 former officials of the National Intelligence Agency charged with the murder of Solo Sandeng as disruptive. Defendant Yankuba Baji and his colleagues protested in court by refusing to enter the dock for the case to continue. Yes, that is it for news. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, a women association for victims of former President Yahya Jammeh this past Friday gathered victims at the Kairaba Beach Hotel to remind Gambians and the whole world at large of the human rights violations and abuses of the former dictator, especially the issue of the witch hunt. Fatou Kamara tells us more.
Into his autocratic tenure, former Gambian leader Jammeh ordered security forces to conduct a witch hunting exercise across the Gambia. During the exercise, people were kidnapped, beaten, given concoctions to drink, forced confessions, and this led to some people having everlasting health implications and resulting to several deaths. On Friday 16th, the Women's Association for Victims Empowerment met at the Kairaba Hotel in Senegambia to remind Gambians and the world of Jammeh's brutal human rights violations, particularly to the witch hunt victims.
WAVE, like I said before, does not sideline the men, but we give the women the platform. We want to empower the victims, the women victims. When we look back, women so we are working with the victims in terms of individual and community healing, reconciliation in communities where members of the community pointed out that people, such as the witch hunt victims that were just, that we heard vent their stories. So we are looking at addressing the issue of reconciliation, the issue of accountability, the issue of reparations especially.
Priscilla, co-founder of WAVE, gave account of Jammeh's brutal witch hunt activity.
The documentary speaks of a number of issues, but then it goes through to also help in the healing process, in empowering the victims themselves who have been able to come out and talk about stories. You'll see through the documentary that there are a number of individuals who, for the very first time in their lives really, and even with the TRC process, had not really engaged in being able to talk about issues of such significance to them, and issues that contributed to their psychological trauma and their loss of livelihood, family, ostracization, stigmatization, all the negativities we could talk about. Yet they mustered the courage. They mustered the courage and they came out and talked. And they spoke from the depths of their hearts, and they were able to bring a number of people around them to be able to support them in the process. And in that process as well, they've been able to talk to so many others and so many other victims who have now been able to come out themselves and say, look, we are standing to be counted. We also want our voices to be heard. We will be part of the TRRC process.
A video titled Duty to Remember was played. This video consists victims and families of victims' testimonies on the witch hunt.
Inata molki nanja. Pari manne ki kula miya long katiko akoita kimi na kuba anukuno rimba.
Na baluo kono kuman chota me ndi me tambeta nyina
ni sida ninga mira akwala ha akwa ka dambalo da no Allah taala
dole fata dole be balure dole me fanga nafa dole be siri noli
kilo fu dole to le dumul do chaman
wala ya jamala ko kai ate wo fanga mu taw nyama do ngaje ko atila symbole moti goro.
WHO Country Coordinator Dr. Desta Tune represented Ms. Sarafine Wakanda, UN Country Representative.
To witness the launch of this important documentary highlighting the plight of a group of victims who suffered untold violations during the administration of former President Jammeh. I therefore extend my sincere appreciation to WAVE for inviting me to attend this prestigious event, which not only allows victims of witch hunt exercise to share their experiences, but provides timely reminder of the need to listen to victims, ensuring their stories are heard far and wide, to enable us to understand the scale of violations they suffered, for comprehensive measures to be adopted to provide redress to victims and prevent recurrence of such atrocities.
WAVE is an organization consisting of victims of Jammeh's human rights violation. It is formed purposely to give victims space to breathe while they await the TRRC recommendations. Stand on one voice and wipe tears of all victims. They said the organization is open to all. Fatu Kamara reporting for the Fatu Network News Review.
TAF Africa Global presents the new Tulip Gardens. TAF Tulip Gardens is set to comprise service plots in sizes ranging from 220 to 570 meters square. Deposit as low as $83,600 is only an 18-month interest-free payment plan with only 20% deposit on the service plots. Please contact 376-2333 or 776-2333. Free.
Thank you very much and welcome back. So I am now joined by Honorable Alaji Jawara. He's the National Assembly member for Lower Badebo. Well, he was part of a group of MPs that traveled to Ghana on a study tour. He will talk to us about this, but also he will share his thoughts with us regarding the UDP cannabis saga. There's something that has swept the country in the past 2 days. Honorable, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Mr. Njai.
What were you doing in Ghana?
We went to Ghana on an invitation from the Petroleum Commission and the GNPC. The purpose of the trip is to go and know and to enlighten ourselves about the issue of petroleum, the downstream, the upstream, and the players in the market. So that's the issue why we went to Ghana, but it was a very successful study too. We learned a lot there, we share ideas, and I believe that will help us as a country before we will also start our own.
Our own.
Yeah.
So what was the most interesting out of this study tour? What struck you as a lawmaker?
One of the interesting things, I may say, the interesting things that we came across are that is the players in the upstream and the players in the downstream, how to regulate those things. Because we learned that the countries that normally have this oil, where they don't have institutions in place to regulate issues, and there is no transparency and there is no accountability. That is why we normally repeat this: Africa is the richest country, but still we are poor. But what we learn is that the result is lack of proper planning. And we should endeavor to make sure that natural resources are protected based on accountability and transparency, and also to share information regarding these natural resources. And we went to Ghana, they shared their experience with us, and we also met with some of the civil society organizations, the CSOs, one of which was PIAC. That is Public Interest Accountability Commission. So that is it's a non-governmental association, but it was the way it was selected. It was fantastic in the Ghanaian context. So I believe we will also emulate that in the future.
How about the role of the MPs, the role of the National Assembly when it comes to natural resources vis-a-vis petroleum? What is your role in all of this?
The role of the National Assembly is very crucial and very important when it comes to the natural resources, because it is the National Assembly that will serve as the watchdog to see that we protect the public interest and we also protect the resources that belong to us as a nation. Because we have seen some of the African nations, I will not mention their name, but maybe you yourself may know. So they produce oil, barrels of oil. But if you go to some of their communities, the way some people were living is very bad. And we say, yes, now before we will also start ours, let us go and observe and learn from best practices. And Ghana happens to be one of those. And what we learn in Ghana, honestly speaking, I think we should put the structures in place before we start this, because it is not about anyone, but it's about us, the people trustees, the National Assembly. We should make sure that the executive do what we want, what the public want, and also we should also protect the public interest. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Great.
Thank
now,
you.
Honorable, you were away while something happened. A UDP vehicle was impounded. There was a driver that was arrested, and allegedly he was carrying cannabis. I know we spoke at the sites, but I want you to come on here and give us your thoughts. What do you make of this whole issue?
Thank you so much, Mr. Njai. You know, this is a very crucial and very unfortunate situation that we see ourselves as a nation. One may link this to PPF, what they call, in political science, we call it PPF, that is political parties funding. But what shocked us most was that, you know, we need to be holistical and analyze things the way they are. You know, Sanjay, it could be happen to me, you, or whosoever. But what I will tell Gambians is, when something happens, let us give chance to these security forces to do their work, and in order to investigate what is expected of them. Because what I learned something in Gambia here is everybody is a professor in all areas.
PhD holders.
PhD holders in all
Every
areas.
day people are attacking us, saying that we are joined the list. People who claim to be PhDs in journalism. So we all run into that, right?
So that's the problem we have as a nation. But I think the how do they call it? The civic education should come to our aid to help us to enlighten people that this is your role, that's what you know. You can share that with the public. You are a journalist. Yes. This man is a teacher. This man is a doctor. But you cannot be Mr. No.
Yes.
Regarding the issue, as I said, some people may link this to PPF, that is the political party funding. But for me, holistically, the way I see it is that some people also may see it as, okay, this is what they are saying to public, to people, and it happens to them. What should be the public reaction now? Yes. So that's also one. Yes. Because you may remember the issue of the cocket. So that was a famous thing here in this country. Yes. But in all fairness, I believe as of now, we cannot associate anybody with this cannabis issue, just like the issue of the cocaine saga. I will rather prefer we give chance to the security forces, that is the drug law enforcement agency, to do their work. After, when they did their work, the conclusion, the report that they have, that's where we can make our comment on. But as of now, if you want to preempt, we may say things that may temper their investigation.
No, but then I know UDP people will take these comments to be fair comments, really, because when I announced that you are appearing on my show, a lot of them were insulted me. They thought when you get here, you're going to attack them, be on the all-out offensive against them. No. But then that's a very fair comment, really, for the police to be let to do their investigation. And really, I mean, when there's an investigation, there is nothing stopping anybody, any Gambian, from giving his or her opinion, safe if it is in court. For example, that is what would restrict one. But I mean, we know the party held a press conference yesterday, and it would appear to me it looked like us against them, because you could see the party leader saying he got intelligence report, bombshell claim that some 3 months ago someone told him that him alongside other officials, top officials, there are plans to plant incriminating materials on them.
Yeah, I also listened to his press conference. If I am him, what I will do is I will come all out to take the responsibility as a leader. We should not run away from responsibility, because he is the leader of the party. I will take responsibility that yes, it is our vehicle, but we will allow the police to do their investigation, and UDP will not run away from this. Hence, what is written on the vehicle, the prefix, that is the UDP, that's the United Democratic Party. And you and I know that anybody that will use that vehicle might be a sympathizer of UDP or a supporter of UDP. That's the fact. So saying that it is in the garage, you should not give excuse. Say as it is. It is our vehicle. This is not the first time that the cannabis has been caught from how do they call it, a well-known vehicle like this, UDP vehicle. We have seen that government officials, even Gambia, outside Gambia, even US, they caught police officers with cocaine, with cannabis. So this is not something new here. But I think the party leader should be bold enough to say, yes, it is our vehicle and we take responsibility and we will allow the police to do their investigation. But to say, to give excuses, it is with the electrician, it is with the, how to call it, is in the garage, this and that. I don't think, if I am him, I will not take such excuse. You know, leaders, once you call yourself a leader, you should be bold enough to take the responsibility, but don't run away from responsibility. So that's my.
I have spoken to some people, and you are the president. Well, you are NPP, the president, and I've met people who say this is a plot by NPP to damage UDP. What do you have to say to such claims?
No, I will say that that's not true. In fact, I will say one thing: the party leader of UDP, in one way or the other, trying to how to call it, incite with the work of the intelligence officers, saying they have an intelligence report. From who? From the intelligence officers. Meaning those intelligence officers are undermining the state that they are serving. Because this is not a government yet. And you are serving, we should have this nationalism in us. If I'm serving the state, I don't see anybody else but the state. This is how we should work as a nation.
And he went as far as mentioning names.
Yes, saying that they have an intelligence report. From who? If I'm the how do they call it? If I'm the IGP today, I will call him and question him. Who informed him about that? That's what they should do. But here, our police officers, or I can say our security officers, they are so scared to act. I don't know what is the problem. Whether they don't believe what they are doing, or they don't believe themselves, or what. Because if you say we have an intelligent report that this will be plot to UDP, who gave you that report? That must be an intelligent officer. And that intelligent officer should only brief their superiors, and their superiors brief the executive. That is the head of state, the chief of defense staff. That's how it should be. But who is briefing you about what is going on? If that is the truth. And you and I know that it is politics. They are trying to make their games their way out. But who in NPP will plot these people? So this has even reminded me that now anybody who is a public figure, or you are a politician, you should be very careful, because this will be the game now, and we should not.
People might use it against
one another. We should not even promote that as politicians. We should not even promote that line. That's my take.
But he has said clearly that UDP is not into that game, that game of putting whatever in people's places, cars, to incriminate them.
I will tell you one thing. Yes, okay, carry on.
Suggesting that maybe other sides, well, it's okay if they are into that, but UDP is not into that.
I will tell you one thing. UDP is a political party, and it is a willful association. It could be your will to be in UDP. Yes. It could be my will to be in UDP. But the fact is, he alone is not UDP. UDP comprises an individual and groups. That is why they call themselves as a political party. Any member in UDP, whatever action you do, you will be judged by that as a party.
Yes.
You will be judged by that as a party. If I wear UDP t-shirt today and I act arrogantly outside, people will say, look at this UDP man. Because that's who I am. That's what I am. So obviously, you cannot separate the two. You cannot separate UDP from this cannabis saga. But as I said, if I am him, I will take the decision bold enough to say, yes, it is UDP who is responsible, and we will allow the police to do their investigation. That's what I expect him to say.
That's what you expect him to say. Also, the issue of the woman, an audio emerged of a woman, purportedly speaking, say claiming that he was one of those officers who pursued the vehicle. That audio, do you also think that, well, because the UDP leader went as far as branding her delinquent, you know, in your opinion, do you think that was professional at all, if at all?
Yeah, the woman,
an officer spoke.
Yes, the woman said this is an immigration, if I'm right. I think the Gambia Immigration Department or Service should expel that woman. In my opinion, if I'm the director of immigration today, we should expel that woman from immigration, because in fact, Laminjai, it is high time now we have our country at heart. And let us not do work for Mr. A or B, or to impress Mr. A or B or Mrs. A or B. That's out of it. I don't care about that. Do your work as it is expected of you. You are an immigration officer, or you are a police officer, and you are doing your duty, and after doing that, people should praise you for what you are doing, and you went to, to publish an audio to say, this is what they are doing, this is what they are doing. But what is that? That's not even professional. So for the immigration department, for people to look at them on a lens of professionalism, I think they should kick her out of the system. Honestly speaking,
she should go.
Yes, she should go. She should not be an immigration officer, because she has a sentiment at heart that is political sentiment. Even she has a political party that she is supporting, she should not even let the public to know that, because she's doing a public job. That's my opinion on that. And if I'm the director of immigration today, we will send her out of the immigration department.
So now, here is the thing. Largely, those people that are accusing UDP of dealing in drugs largely come from the NPP. NPP people are the ones peddling that claim. And yesterday, UDP pushed back.
What is your facts about that?
UDP,
Can you give me any statistic? You, no?
Well, I have spoken to a lot of NPP people. NPP people have,
evidence.
for example, for example, Baba Jah, for example, was online. He did I mean, at least those that spoke publicly. That's what I'm saying. Was online saying that UDP is now officially into drugs. So that is just one example. But these are the people that are branding UDP a party that is now dealing in drugs. UDP pushed back yesterday, and what they are saying through their leader, of course, is that you have the issue of the cocaine, which is far more, which is graver, which is far more serious than the cannabis. That cocaine has international dimension. People are not talking about that, but they would rather talk about cannabis.
Yeah, in that light, you and I know that the cocaine issue is not a party issue. This is a national issue. And as I told you, anything that comes through national issue, we should treat it nationally. Anything that comes through party line, we can do our politics on sideline with that. But the issue of the cocaine, I myself, I will commend the drug law enforcement officers for that. Because this cocaine has been tracked by the Interpol. It has passed many countries. Even though they said Gambia is the how do they call it, the final destination of this issue. Yes. But our officials has proved to the public that we will not accept this here. You and I know that, honestly speaking, if anybody or any top ranker in the government cycle is involved in this, for example, let me give you some, for example, a president, do you think that people will know this in African context? Because right away from port, it will go straight. Nobody will check it. But we must talk to our people to understand. We must say the truth to our people. Let the public absorb what is the fact. We must just talk for the sake of talking and misleading the public about things that are not even existing. But this is something that the police has cased a vehicle, and automatically, even the drug issue, the cocaine, I think the Interpol, they case this intelligently until they know that Gambia is the final destination. Our law enforcement agents, I will say, what is the name of the director again? Gassama. And his people, bravo. Because they proved to the public and the world at large that Gambia is going to be a free zone, non-drug free zone. So that one alone, we will say bravo to them. Because they said to the whole world and the Gambia at large that no, this thing has no place here. But when it comes to this, how do they call it, the cannabis issue, I know responsible people from United Democratic Party will feel very bad and they would not like to associate with this. That's the fact. But I will also urge UDP to give their vehicles to people who are very responsible. You understand? Because a responsible person will not act like it and will not do this. But obviously you cannot separate the two. The vehicle is UDP vehicle and the culprit is UDP. So that one, nobody can separate these two. That's the fact.
What do you have to tell your NPP people, people who are peddling this claim that UDP is now into drugs officially, confirmed by this incident?
You see, I mean, Jai, it is rather.
Oh, you guys are just using it because it's politics.
No, it's not because politics. Don't remind me of.
Because I have seen what the cocaine issue, and most of these people comes from opposition. When it comes to the cocaine, people are saying President Barrow without evidence. They don't have any evidence.
Yes,
and they say President Barrow is part of it.
I saw a video.
Yes.
And
so now you people are also paying back.
No, it's not about paying back.
Yes.
I'm not into that game.
Yes.
I saw a video, a lady, a journalist. She said she's a journalist, interviewing Sidi Njai and asking Sidi that
Allah Drogo.
Allah Drogo.
Yes, Allah Drogo. Yes, I know that
it's
one.
So unfortunate.
Yes.
You understand? Because that's the mindset, that's the perception that people have.
Yes.
But is that the reality? And all of a sudden, people know that who is doing this thing.
Yes.
So I will not say UDP, this is what they are doing officially. If anybody says that you are definitely doing something which is not correct. But what I'm saying is, you cannot separate UDP from this cannabis issue.
Because their car is involved.
Because their car is involved. And anybody who is going to use UDP car, you and I know that must be a sympathizer of UDP or a real fan of UDP. So that's the fact.
Someone like me will definitely not be able to access a UDP vehicle. Talk less of driving it.
Likewise me too. So automatically you will know that this is UDP thing.
Yes.
So if I'm the party leader of UDP, I will come bold enough to say, yes, it is our car and it is our people who involved into this thing, but we will give everything back to the police to do their work. That's what I expect of him. Anyway.
Okay, thank you. I think that's clear enough.
Yeah.
But then let's also talk about one or two things. Election. I mean, this is going to be a very important election. President Barrow wants to, prove a point. He wants to win this election. And I mean, it's not going to be easy for him, He will find UDP there. He will find APRC there. He will find Doi there, Halifa Saleh. He will find all these, Mama Kande, all these, even my friend, Dr. Cisse. These are all people who are there, really. Okay. And they're going to challenge him. They're going to battle it out with him. In terms of your chances, NPP, how is it looking?
I can tell you, as you mentioned it, you said this is going to be a very difficult or tough election. We don't see anything that is going to be tough in this election.
It's not going to be tough?
No. We have already won this election.
How? How? I can't see it.
You can see it, but we can see.
Yes.
Lamja, if you could remember, November, I think 2018 or 2019, when President Barrow is going for nationwide tour, we have an interview at Banjul, at the terminal. You asked me about the future of the political, how do we call it, President Barrow's political future. And I tell you that this man has a brighter future in politics. And now everybody can see it.
I can't see it.
You will not see it because you will not agree. Because
I cannot
if you
see
agree,
it. I have tried and tried and
yes,
tried. I cannot see
it.
That is why I'm asking you again.
If you agree with me, the next minute they're going to say he is NPP.
So I have to disagree.
Disagree, no problem. But I can tell you, frankly, this man is going to win outright. Whether one's like it or not, he's going to win.
What would that then entail or mean for the country's political future? Because if that should happen, there would be a lot of disappointment in some camps. People might commit suicide. People might go into exile, might just pack up and give up on Gambia and leave.
Then let them try to prepare their visas,
yes,
and where they will stay overseas. And if anybody is ready to commit suicide, go and have your rope with you or whatsoever. Yeah. But we are good. Let me tell
you can't care less.
Let me give you the few things that Gambians are not sleeping, and nobody can fool us again. What has happened has happened. I will tell you first. You said President Barrow is the face of that politics, and the democracy that we are enjoying today. One, President Barrow is the face of that. After the coup d'etat, the former president was democratically elected into power. People gave him that power. But what has he did to us in return? It was very bad. Everybody knew that. President Barrow also have the same power. But to be frank enough, is he exercising that? No. You can say whatever you say, but the democratic space is there. That's one. Two, if you look at the salary scale of the Gambians, before and now, it is this government in 5 years' time, they add the salaries to how many percent? 50%. That's two. Three, the pension. How much is the pensioners are earning at the end of every month? You know, some will even prefer, let me leave this month, first, second, or third month, I go and pick my pension. So if you compile all these things together, and you look at how our democratic institutions are independent, look at the judiciary, look at parliament, you yourself, your institution, as the fourth agency to the how to call
to
it?
the state.
To the state, that is the media. It is so independent. Before, you and I will not sit here and we talk about government like this. Nobody is mad to think that way.
It would have been difficult.
It wasn't difficult. That's fault. Look at the road network infrastructure. Communication is key. And this man is doing that. Sir Dawda and the Jambes regime, the amount of road that they construct is 800 kilometers. And this man, within these 4, is 600 kilometers. How many kilometers left? We should say bravo to him. The issue of the electricity, the time he was coming into the power, you know, government has to be very factual, and we should be bold enough to speak the truth. If anything that President Barrow does which is not correct, we need to say it. But anything that he does and it is credit for him, let's give him that due. So that one is there. The issue of the electricity is there. Water, the same thing. Look at it, the pipes were going everywhere for people to have nice water with pressure. So all these are development. We praise Jambe for what he has done at the airport. Today, go to the airport. Look at the bridges that we are constructing at URR. Before, when you say Gambia, people think of only Banjul and Kombo and some part of West Coast. But today, go to URR. Gambia College, it was only one college. President Barrow came in. When he stepped in, we have a college in Bassi. So all these are development, Mr. Njaya. Today, go to our NBR. Hakalan sings independence. The Kerawan, the governor's office, is a sample. Gambe told us that I don't want this village. But today, the villagers in that place, $24 million project is going on there. Offices and the governor's residence. That's how it should be within these 5 years. Honestly speaking, if Gambian don't tell him thank you, I don't think we have. You may have your own opinion on certain issues, sentiment and the like, or you may have problem with President Barrow. That's okay. But he did wonders.
And you think he will be able to win via the simple majority, because the issue of a new constitution appears to be all but dead.
No, we are going through the old constitution. You know, this constitution is, you like to talk about this.
Yes, I like, because it hurts me. It hurts me.
What hurts you?
The issue of Gambia not having a new constitution. This is one of the things that that made me vote for President Barrow. Right? A new constitution. That got to you. You were one of those people that voted against that killed that constitution. Honorable Oman Diagne.
No, but
no,
listen, we are saving you.
You guys hurt me.
You people trusted us to go to that place to save you.
But you didn't save me this time around. What you did is you killed me.
Leadership is about two things. You either take good or bad decision. And any decision you have to take would not be favorable to anybody. Some might be favorable to you and it will be good to others. Let me tell you one thing I dislike in this constitution. One, for the issue of the public service or civil servant. If you are a civil servant, you are a teacher, you will stick to that, but you will not go and do any other business. Let us consider the salary scale of this country. Thanks to President Barrow's government, when he came into power, we increased the salary to 50%. So therefore, we have to be fair to each other. I mean, after this work, I know you may have other works that you are doing that you are getting gainful income from it.
Yes.
So that's how it should be. But if you say Laminja is this, then you will not go and do other work. How are we going to live? Then you, in fact, you are trying to promote corruption. And that is embedded in that constitution.
Don't you think the issue here, the bone of contention, the issue why you voted against this constitution has to do with President Barrow staying longer in power? Doing 15 years. Someone who said he was going to do 3 years. I know we will keep on rehearsing and rehearsing
these
things.
I just want to remind you one good thing here. In 2018, when we had an interview.
Yes.
You could remember?
Yes, I remember.
Yes, I tell you that for any leader, for people to vote into power, you must do something. And that is, you must do something that people will see and feel it and know that, yes, this is what he has done here during his tenure in office.
Yes.
And holistically and honestly speaking, that's what he does. Anytime I spoke with Barrow, I would tell him, look, we need to do capital projects. We say, no, we will get there. I say, no, we have to start it now. Alhaji, we will get there. I say, no, we have to start it now.
Projects for votes.
It's not about project for votes. He's a politician like me. And even you yourself, if we don't do anything in Kia, don't you think the Kiangas will vote for us? They will not. But despite whatsoever, today if you go to Kia, you can have a cold water. For how many years? When they want cold water, they will run to Jara, Mansakongo, or Soma. Or some will come to Combo. Yes. So for today, at least if you go to Kia, you will see kids playing under the light, which they enjoy really well. So honestly, this man has done a lot for us within the 5 years frame.
Honorable,
so
you are
achieved something.
You've achieved as a government,
yes.
But the thing is, you are an MP who became MP through UDP. You were very popular. Yeah. This was how you won and became NP. Now, I mean, you broke away. You fell out with UDP. You are now on the other side, and there are these claims that you are no longer popular in Badibo. You go to Badibo, people don't even discuss you. It's like, you know, you no longer exist. Is this the case? Because as people come to me and say, hey, look, Honorable is your friend, but Badibu okay, forget it. Some people will say, let's work for Dara. Just a few people, many along. They are with you. Is this the case? How is your popularity like?
Let me tell you one thing. I will not talk about my popularity, but I believe my popularity has spoken for itself. Let me tell you one thing. Anyone who is telling you that Alaji is not popular in Badibo, people are not supporting him in Badibo, he himself don't know Badibo.
And these are Badibunkas who tell me this.
These people, they don't even know Badibo. And even if they know Badibo, their hearts are attached to a political party that they are supporting.
So they just cannot speak the truth.
And that's it. Today, if you go and ask Hussein Dabo whether UDP will win in December 2020, what would he say? Yes. If you go and ask Dr. Sise whether CA will win in December, he will say yes. If you go and ask, how do they call this man, Mama Kande, the same thing.
Yes.
So those who are saying that, they are not in my good book, so I cannot force them to say what they like to say. But I can tell you one thing. The amount of vote that I have in 2017, 2022, April will be far more than that. I can give you that assurance.
Really?
Will be far more than that. I can give you that assurance. It will be far more than that. And if the population is...
Then UDP is as good as dead in Badibu then?
UDP is almost dead in Badibu. That's the fact. Let's come in election. I can tell you the places that UDP is going to have vote, at least.
Yes.
That might be Salikenya and Jabakunda, a little bit.
Yes.
But lower Badibu, upper Badibu, UDP is dead. That's the fact. UDP is dead. And in central Badibu too, UDP is dying gradually. I do tell this to one of the...
But that is serious, huh?
It's serious. Look at the councillor of Njabakunda Ward.
UDP should...
the councillor of Njabakunda Ward, Seko Singate.
Yes.
I went to Seko and I faced him and I talked to him.
The guy you took to the president?
President, yes.
Honorable Seko.
And I just tell him the realities on the ground, and he himself knows he is not a fool. And his family knows what is going on in Badibu. Let me tell you one thing. There is one Changa man, Akantonya in the back. Kwanya Badibungo Almansila Alala.
Yes.
Almansila Mansala, Almansila Fanas, let her cook in now for it.
Yes.
But I can tell you, Badibungo Liela Hajol on a lamin. And Mobuke full no.
And the Allah Hajol.
Nana Hajol and Mobukam full no. That's the fact. We know what is good for us. Hey, in Dolmanke 1280. Lamin. 30 years we oppose Sadawada. Based on the fact, because Lafita Mfanala Mole Kefendi. That's it.
Yes.
That
was it, yeah.
And you support the person based on because you want your people to be something. Wala na yewura, you do koke kuo beke business okay just to support Diba. Alama keno and they accept that. When Jambe came in, the same thing. Opposition. When Adama came in, but we came to them, you quarter I want to work. Then now worked at the time you are a fool. So I can tell you, if the votes in Badibu are 100%, Adama Barrow is going to get 80% of the vote.
Wow. Wow, Barrow is winning.
Yes, he's going to win mercilessly in Badibu, and it's going to be a very big surprise for many.
Honestly, Malafali win. That's my.
No, you are entitled to that.
That's my position.
And they come in for more. Hey, Badibu Jara.
Jani model bafla nyo UDP lam.
No.
Are UDP golo niwol mga dia.
Ikaw Badibu Jara kiyang UDP la. Let them go to Badibu. If Badibungas are full, they will know.
Yes.
If Badibungas are full, Badibungas are not full. We know our business and we know what is good for us. Look at the UDP top high ranker, Suku. Yeah. It's a sample to you.
Yeah, Suku totally, but people tell me Suku fanang mota bulu. He left all alone.
But mota Suku bulu nyadi.
When Suku left,
let me tell you one thing. Suku has been warning in Badibu for 4 good times. Yeah. 20 years in power.
Yes.
Iko moto bulu. Badin to bulu kafu nyota bulu kuke nyotal, pati nyotal. But brave UDP, iko Suku is a king. This is what they are saying. Say bravo da jela mota bulu. This is logic. This is just a small logic. So automatically you know that core. Let me inform you here today, core. Nenka to fight wherever you are, we will call each other. I will tell you, core Badibu has scored 80%. Nim President Barrow Baboyla Badibu. I will tell you two places. It might be Sali Kenya, Njabakunda.
These are just the 2 places.
These are just the 2 places.
Well, I'm sure you people are watching
this. Let me tell you, I'm always in Badibu.
Yes.
But Nintataje, because I know the political range there. When I go there, most of the time is I will go to these other, how do they call it, villages at the north, sit with them, chat with them, have time with them, then proceed up to Central Badibu. Just recently in Bodaja Mamme, we have this final organized by one association called Badia. You understand? It was a very fruitful program, very successful. So I went there, I was there, they invited the governor, the chief of Central Badibu was there, and this council I'm talking about, Singade also was there. You understand? So many kadiamu jama. Ika Badibu nko dolfonje, even to la kerawan, many kafu ka politiko keje. Ita be siri nkombo jang, ita leta kerawan is ninkari. You are saying ko kerawan bebe UDP. Ike gani kumola fodo. But ni kerawan nko mutola wat. Ibolo na. Mbada fo balo to ilo.
Honorable, that's clear. I also want to quickly squeeze in one thing. Yeah. Contentious, controversial. $200,000 US, $10 million honorarium to be paid to the Justice Ministry officials. And there was a lot of talk around that, controversy around that. Yeah. Much bashing, really, directed at the current Justice Minister, the former Justice Minister, the rest who took or who are to take this money. I mean, what is your opinion on this?
Now, I will reserve my opinion on that. I think the best people to answer that is the Ministry of Justice.
Because the reason I asked you is, because the government clarified yesterday, the government spokesperson, I'm sure you read that, and they said cabinet approved it. But there are claims outside that this money should have come to you at the National Assembly for you to approve it before anybody could access this money.
Is it from a consolidated fund?
This is not from consolidated fund. This is an OIC. It's a budget that was submitted to the OIC, and the OIC approved it because you know the Myanmar, the Rohingya case.
No,
Gambian lawyers.
I don't have my constitution with me here right now. Yes. But what you are talking about, if it is that through this OIC issue, I don't think that needs parliamentary approval. No. I'm not sure because it is not a loan.
Yes. It is not a loan. These are just contributions from member countries, member OIC countries to support the Gambia in the ICJ
I
case.
believe, in my opinion, they have right to share it among themselves. In my opinion.
That's your opinion.
Because if it is a loan or grant or it is from the consolidated fund.
These are the 3 things that qualify it to be taken to the
parliamentary approval for ratification.
Okay.
But for this one, I believe. But you can call them and then ask them. They will give you more light on that.
Honorable, how is the fasting coming along?
Alhamdulillah, we are on it. It's just that we find it tough. The first and the second day we did that outside of the country.
Was tough.
But it's all geared towards the
Is President Barrow planning to take sugar and rice to Badibu to give to people?
No, if the President Barrow gives us rice and sugar, we will tell him to take it to Kia.
To Kia, and not Badibu. well, I'm sure Fatu is listening. Maybe I don't know whether she would want that rice to get to Kia
so
or not.
Mixing me with Fatu.
Well, she's the one that's from Kia. But anyways, thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. I called you. I know I called you at the last minute, and then you.
Thank you so much.
You said you were gonna come, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So before we go, we have a story for you as endometriosis. This is a disease that affects women, but not many people know about this disease. Mati Sangor tells us more.
Endometriosis is a reproductive disease that affects women, a chronic inflammatory hormone-dependent condition associated with pelvic pain and infertility, characterized by the growth of ectopic endometrium outside the uterus. Fatou Jom, coordinator of Let's Fight Endo, gave a synopsis of the challenges she faced before diagnosed with endometriosis.
I didn't know I have endometriosis, but I was diagnosed in 2011 when I was trying to conceive. Because, once you get married, you're trying to have kids. But before that, back in high school, I used to have so much pain. Like, I was in and out of the hospital for so many years. And then finally, 2011 my doctor was like, you know what, I'm sick and tired of you coming here every day. So let's figure out what's going on. So they sent me to an OBGYN specialist, and that's when they diagnosed me with endometriosis. And that was that. So I took it upon myself to do research and find out that endometriosis can affect women from 14 all the way up, and it can cause a very severe pain, just like what I was going through. And also it can block your fallopian tube. It can be in your bowel movement. It can be in your kidney. It can make your organs stick together like glue. I was like, wow, I was dealing with this. I wonder why, I wasn't able to get pregnant. And endometriosis is like a tissue, kind of like the best way to explain is like when you have your menstrual cycle, instead of all that blood to transfer in the right area to come out, it end up transfer backwards and go to the wrong area, and also that can start causing pain, and it can start causing other bleeding, like abnormal bleeding, and start blocking some areas that like your fallopian tube. But it's something that's affect over 176 million women.
Dr. Firas gave us a brief detail of endometriosis and the signs and symptoms.
Endometriosis is in a simple language, let us just explain about some anatomical items to understand what is endometriosis. We have the uterus, which is the womb. Inside the uterus, there is a tissue, we call it the endometrium. This endometrium is responsible about the implantation of the pregnancy and responsible about the menstruation period every month. The normal location of the endometrium is inside the cavity of the womb. Sometimes when it travels outside the cavity, we call it endometriosis. The location of the endometriosis, sometimes it comes in the pelvic organs, ovaries, the out surface of the uterus, pelvic, rectum, bowels, bladder, and the ligaments. The signs of the symptoms, most of the cases they review with chronic abdominal pain. Of course, this is the main symptom, but there is lots of symptoms, like first of all, the infertility, because endometriosis is responsible about 30 to 50% of the woman infertility. Low abdominal pain, dyspareunia, difficulty in urination, pain during having intercourse, and of course some of them they have severe menstruation cramps.
Dr. Firas also highlighted the people that are at risk of having endometriosis.
Global percentage of the endometriosis is 1/10. Like every 10 women, one of them they have endometriosis. The high risk of the endometriosis is the advanced age. Number two, the ignored patients, like if the patient has low abdominal pain since it starts, since she's at the age of 15, 16 years old, and she didn't review the doctor, she didn't check herself. So this endometriosis, it will increase in the staging. This is the most common high risk of endometriosis of the patient.
Do we have the testing equipment in the Gambia, and can it be treated, is a question I asked the gynecologist.
Yeah, of course, the diagnosis of endometriosis depends upon three things. Number one is the clinical examination, including the vaginal examination or rectal examination sometimes. Number two, the scan. We can do transvaginal scan to check whether the patient has signs of endometriosis on the ultrasound. Number three, the option of choice to put the golden diagnosis for the endometriosis is the laparoscopy. The laparoscopic surgery is non-invasive surgeries. We can go through the abdomen by 3 holes, each one around 5 millimeter only. It's one-day surgery, like the patient can do the operation morning, in the evening she can go home. It's a major operation, but it's non-invasive. So that's why the complications and the recovery is very fast as well. During the laparoscopy, we can put the final diagnosis of the endometriosis. Sometimes we can take biopsies from the area there is suspect of endometriosis, send this tissue to histopathology to confirm the diagnosis. And the laparoscopic also, we can do the staging of the endometriosis, how many spots we have inside the pelvic organs. And finally, we can treat if we can, like some cases, they are treatable by the surgery itself. So we are hitting 3 birds in 1 stone. Diagnosis, confirming of the diagnosis by taking biopsies, staging, number 2, number 3, treatment.
He added that there is no theory that is said to have caused endometriosis. Some experts think menstrual blood that contains endometrial cells may pass through your fallopian tubes and into your pelvic cavity, where the cells stick to your organs. This is called retrograde menstruation. For TFN News Review, I am Mati Senghor.
Thank you very much. So the show for today, tomorrow is another day. Until then, my name is Lamin Jai.